What's up, Daily Becomers? So, let me put this disclaimer in there. The episode that you're about to see, literally 30 seconds before I hit the button to record, my baby sister called me to tell me that they were rushing my mother to the hospital. So, let me apologize ahead of time. I was focused, but let me be honest, my mind was on my mother. So I apologize if that comes off in this episode. I pray that you give me grace while you watch this, but I believe that you will hear my heart, and most of all, you will hear the heart of God, and God will be glorified, and you'll get something out of it. So I just wanted to come on and say that. Please enjoy the episode. I hope it doesn't come across as much as I was feeling it. I love you guys. Thank you so much. And let's get into it. Okay. Be glorified. Meet us where we are. Speak to our hearts and heal. What's up, Becomers? Welcome back. I am your host, Coach Nick. I hope you all enjoyed the live four-part series that I've done over the past month. It is titled Becoming the Best You. And I'm so grateful for that series because it spoke to me. We talked about everything from taking accountability and transformation to embracing change and allowing change and transformation to help us to progress forward. So if you did not get a chance to watch, the four-part series is available on our YouTube channel right here at Daily Becoming. I'm excited about today's episode because we're going to be talking about something that not a lot of people like to talk about, face, or admit, and that is insecurity. Having insecurities. And I want to ask you, when you hear the word insecurity, what is the very first thing that comes to your mind? I know for a lot of people, it's a negative. It's an immediate negative thoughts, negative memory. There's a negative attachment of something along with the word insecurity. A lot of the times when we think insecurity, we think it has everything and only to do with how we feel about how we look. Insecurity is so much more than that. For the purpose of today's conversation and for the purpose of our healing in the area of insecurity, so we can move forward to become the best version of ourselves, I want us to think about the word insecurity as what you're not secure in. I am not secure in blank. I believe when we think about it that way, that'll help us get to the root cause of a lot of things that we've been insecure about over the years. And not just get to the root cause of it, but to help uproot it so we can get healed from it. And that way, that thing will stop blocking us. We'll know how to fight it, how to combat it when it comes. I believe that true healing is really steeped in getting to the root of an issue or a cause. But I'm going to ask you, how would you define the word insecurity? And how would you define the word insecurity as it pertains to you and the things that you may be insecure in? Think about how insecurity shows up in your life. Think about how insecurity causes you to show up or not to show up in the world. I think this is a very important topic for us to discuss because we don't like to talk about insecurities. We don't want to let the world know that we have some vulnerabilities, that we have some weak spots, that we have some areas that we're not confident in. And I'm going to say this, as men and women of God, we really don't like to tell people areas where we feel we're falling short or we feel that we are weaker. A lot of that stems from the fact that we tend to be a bit judgmental. When someone tells us about an area that they're insecure or that they're doubtful in, will say things like, well, if you trusted God more, well, if you believed in God, if you trusted God, if you did that, and that adds another level of insecurity, because now you're questioning your own faith. Now you're questioning, why don't I trust God? If I trusted God, I wouldn't feel this way. What I want to do today, and I'm not bashing Christians because I am one. What I want to do is make us more understanding and compassionate about how someone may be dealing with something that they are insecure about. Instead of questioning someone's faith, instead of immediately judging and putting them down for not being stronger in their belief in that area, how about we become more compassionate? How about we take the time to listen, to find out why they may feel that way? The truth of the matter is, if we were all honest, all of us in the past, some of us even right now, have dealt with being insecure about some area of our lives, whether it was how we looked, or it was in a relationship, or it wasn't our ability to be good enough to do something. We've all been there. So none of us have room to judge anybody else. And if you think about it, there were so many men and women in the Bible that were insecure or doubtful about their own ability. If I were to ask you right now to name some people from the Bible that you believe were insecure or doubted their own ability, the first person that probably would come up would be Moses. For me, it's definitely Moses. I actually was teaching on this on Friday night, and I asked the group the same question. Everybody simultaneously was like Moses, first person out the gates. Moses had a speech impediment, and the Bible doesn't specify what it is, but over the years, many people just automatically associate it with him stuttering or whatever it could have been. Moses was very insecure about that. And when God called him to be the deliverer to the Israelites that were enslaved down in Egypt, he gave God 59 different reasons on why he should choose someone else, because he did not have eloquent enough speech. He doubted so much, and he was so insecure about it, that God eventually said, fine, take your brother Aaron, and I will speak through you, through him. That means we're in good company. If the chosen deliverer for the Israelites was insecure, then you can't let the devil deceive you that it's so wrong that you have a moment of insecurity, that it's so wrong that you have self-doubts, that your self-worth is not as high as it should or could be. So because we are in such good company, and I can name you several of the people, you have Gideon, you have Abram, you have Sarah, Jeremiah, you have the centurion that had the sick servant that felt he wasn't even good enough for Jesus to enter into his home to heal his servant. It was just like, I trust your authority so much, you can just say the word, he'll be healed. I'm not even worthy to even be talking to you. Then you had the woman with the issue of blood. You had the woman at the well, and I could literally go on and on. There aren't too many people that you're going to read about in the Bible that you don't see some area of insecurity or doubt or question coming into mind, like, but why me? Mary, the mother of Jesus, for instance. Why me? What is man that thou art mindful of him? I believe when I read the Bible, the only person that I see that fully walked in who they were, believed in his own worth, who believed in his own ability, and was so secure in who they were, and that would be Jesus Christ. So I'm in good company if I have days where I'm not feeling so sure, if I have days where I'm not feeling as secure in me, in my ability, I'm in good company. And if any of you are dealing with insecurities, then we're in good company together. But I want to talk a little bit more about insecurities. Insecurity is defined as uncertainty or anxiety about oneself. Does that sound familiar? It's the lack of confidence. Insecurity is a feeling of uncertainty, a lack of confidence or anxiety about yourself, a feeling of apprehensiveness, and a lack of assurance or stability. So that definition actually breaks the word insecurity down a little bit more. And that takes it away from the notion that it only has to do with how you feel about how you look. Insecurity is about apprehensiveness. It's about uncertainty. It's also about anxiety. Let's just sit in that for a moment. I don't know about you, but when we define it and we see it through those lenses, that causes me to look at my insecurity in a different way. I also want to add this definition, so I want you to write it down. I always see insecurity as I am not secure in blank. I am not secure in blank. That will help me to define what that means for me. That will help me get to the root cause of that insecurity for me. I'm going to say it again because I think you may have missed it. This is your sign. If you look at it as I am not secure in blank, it will really help you when it's time to go introspectively, when it's time to think inwardly. Why am I insecure about this? It changes to why am I not secure in this? Here's an example. You could be in a relationship and the person that you're with constantly tells you you are insecure because you're always wondering if they're with somebody else, or they'll tell you, you think I want somebody over you, or you always comparing yourself to somebody. If you were to sit and really get to the root of that insecurity or that root to that mindset, you could say to yourself, why am I not secure in your faithfulness? Why am I not secure in his faithfulness? Why am I not secure that I can trust this person? A lot of times you'll find that the root of that is because the past experience of being cheated on or someone breaking your trust taught you that people can't be trusted. So now every time your significant other does something or goes somewhere, you're automatically on that default thought pattern. I can't trust people. He's gone too long. I can't trust him. He wasn't where he said he was going to be. I can't trust him. This is going to help you get down to the root cause of the why. Because maybe from that past relationship, you didn't get the healing that you needed to get. Maybe you jumped too quickly in a new relationship. Maybe that thing was there and you didn't realize it needs to be dealt with. So instead of claiming that you're insecure with Johnny, you are not secure in trusting people. I'm not secure that I won't be cheated on again. I'm not secure that my trust won't be broken again. It helps you to identify where that's coming from. And hopefully with that identification, you can do further exploration and the end result will be you being healed in that area. Now, insecurity doesn't just present itself in mistrust in relationships. That was just an example. Insecurity can manifest in many different ways. Sometimes it shows up in people as a controlling behavior. You need to control. You feel you need to be in control of all of the puzzle pieces for things to come together properly. You feel that you need to be in control over all the elements, all the details, all of the pieces, because when you're in control, there are no blind spots. When you're in control, you know exactly what the turnout and the end result will be because you cannot handle the uncertainty. Remember part of that definition? Because you can't handle the uncertainty. You can't handle the apprehensiveness of things. So you feel if you're in control of everything. Here's the thing about being in control of everything. You want to control everyone too. You want to control all the aspects of everything that happens in your life, and that includes people. I want to ask you, how does that work out for you? Because one thing I do know, it's exhausting. It is exhausting to play the wizard where you control everything. It is exhausting to try to play God. We're not Holy Ghost Jr. We're trying to control every aspect and facet of our lives and the lives of those who are with us, because we're not secure in it working out any way other than the way we want it to. It also shows up as defensiveness. It shows up as self-doubt and seeking others' approval. It's some people pleasers out there. It's some people pleasers out there. There are some people that just have to have the amen and the yes and the claps and the we like you, yes, we love you from other people all the time, because that gives you security. Unfortunately, it's a false sense of security, because you may have the people cheering for you today and they're crucifying you tomorrow. Ask Jesus. The problem with people pleasing is it's a temporary fix to something that you're not secure in, that makes you unhappy in the long run, that will wear you out in the long run, and it has you living unauthentically, because you'll say yes to everything. You will accept any type of behavior. You will allow things to happen that should absolutely not happen, all because you want to keep the people in your life happy. And another reason why we people please, you're not secure in them staying around. You're not secure in them just loving you as you are. You think, if I don't do what they want me to do, then they're going to leave. They're not going to like me. They're not going to love me. Insecurity shows up in us comparing ourselves with others. There's so much danger in comparison, Ida. I will never forget, getting ready for another truth moment, I will never forget when I first started developing my breast. I was really young, and I'm 48 as of last Tuesday. This was a time when that wasn't the thing that was in. People weren't even buying breasts at the time. And there were not a lot of girls in my school that had developed like that. I was about 9 years old, and I used to want so bad for them to go away, because I wanted to look like everyone else. Then this trend started coming in. You know, think about Baywatch. Think about Pamela Anderson. There were women starting to get breast implants. And that became a fashion thing. And I remember thinking, mine don't even look like theirs. So then I'm comparing myself to them, wanting mine to look like theirs. And then also still kind of wanting mine to go away, because they kept growing and they kept growing and they kept growing. I'll never forget having 2 separate conversations with people that I grew up with. And I remember one of them telling me, I used to want to look like you because I didn't have any. And I said, but I wanted to look like you because I did. Have y'all ever found that the very thing that you're comparing against others that you don't like is the very thing that other people wish they had? Like, as much as you talk about your weight right now, there is still someone that's 200 to 300 pounds more than you, even 100 pounds more than you, that wishes they could look like you, because you're comparing yourselves to people that are 2 to 3 times smaller than you. That doesn't mean you shouldn't strive to be healthy. You shouldn't strive to lose weight, but you shouldn't do it because your mind is set on, I'm not as good as they are because I don't look like that. I don't have what they have. I can't sing the way that they sing. I can't speak or preach. My business is not as successful as theirs. My social media platform is not big as theirs is. You know, my pages are not curated as beautifully as theirs are. There are so many ways and areas that we compare ourselves to others because we're not secure in what we have and who we are as it being good enough. So we think if I had what they had, if I looked the way they looked, then I would be better. I would be loved. I would be happier, which is one of the biggest misconceptions, myths, and lies. If I had this like they had it, I would be happier. You don't know if they're even happy with what they have. If God ever allowed the opportunity for you and the person you keep comparing yourself to have a conversation, you'll find that they just may rather be where you are while you're trying so hard to strive to be where they are. Insecurity shows up as avoiding certain situations. I'm not secure in myself when I'm amongst a crowd of people, so I just won't go anywhere. I won't go anywhere where there's a crowd. And shout out, big ups to anyone that has their groceries delivered. But I know people that are so insecure amongst other people that they would rather not even go to the grocery store, but so they have the groceries delivered. They won't go into social settings because they feel awkward. They're not secure in their ability to have conversation with other people. They don't want to go where they have to engage. They avoid situations. They avoid starting their businesses. They avoid writing their books. They avoid relationships because they're not secure. They have difficulty making decisions. They have anxiety in social settings, as we just said. They are overly critical of themselves and of other people. They are self-condemnators. Is that a word? I don't know. We just made it one. But they're self-condemnators. They would rather be the one to condemn what they think is wrong than for you to see it and acknowledge it, or they think that that weakness is showing to others, so they beat themselves down for that weakness being displayed. A lot of the times we are self-condemning for things that people don't even, first of all, they're not even paying attention. They don't even care like that. Or it's not as important to them as you think it is. They're not looking at you and saying, man, if they just didn't have this, they would be good. If they were smaller, then they would be. They're not looking at you like that. They don't even care like that. The only time somebody may really focus and hone in on what you're honing in on is when you keep drawing attention to it. You keep talking about it, or you are so insecure about it, it's written all over you. It's perfectionism. It shows up as perfectionism. Insecurity also shows up as strong desire to be alone. In other words, isolation. You would rather isolate than have to deal. You would rather isolate than be so uncomfortable. It is not even about being introverted, but I know people that have such anxiety about being in crowds or being around other people that it is a physical reaction. I've seen someone throw up. I've seen people break out into sweat. I've seen people shake. It becomes a physical reaction that anxiety takes over so strongly. Then you have apologizing unnecessarily, overlooking obvious bad behaviors, putting on a facade of superiority. People that like to put people down, a lot of people that have bullied, a lot of people that go after these higher positions, is because they want to be able to do this and look down. They fear that you will see their weaknesses, their vulnerabilities, their inadequacies. So instead of you seeing theirs, they're going to point yours out. They're going to amplify yours before theirs can be amplified. It shows up as arrogance, aggressiveness, fault-finding with others, blaming, complaining, judging, criticizing, putting others down, as we just mentioned. And it shows up as paralyzing fear. If any of that resonates with you, I want you to say me down in the comments. And I'm going to ask you to be brave enough to say me in the comments, because one of the things that'll keep an insecurity alive is not talking about it. And we're going to get more into that in just a second. We are working so hard at becoming our truest and best self. What are things that are holding us back from doing that? Insecurities is definitely one of those stumbling blocks. So this conversation is very important for us to have today. And now that I've described various ways that insecurity can show up in your life, I want you to close your eyes and think, what does insecurity look like to me? How does that feel? How does it make me feel? How does it show up in me? And how am I showing up in the world because of it? I want you to go inward right now. And I want you to be very honest with you. Is it showing up in me as a paralyzing fear? So I'm not doing things because I'm afraid. I'm not doing things because I'm uncertain and unsure. I'm anxious of the outcome. I'm not secure in the fact that I'm good enough to do it, so I don't attempt, I don't try. I haven't been going after the promotion. I haven't asked for the raise. I'm too insecure in how I look and what others would think, so I have not gotten my gym membership. How is it showing up? What is it causing you to feel like? What does it make your self-talk sound like? And then ask yourself, in what areas is it holding me back? I want you to stop, pause this, and write those down. Rewind so you can get all of the questions, write them down. And these are going to be your journal prompts. If you don't journal, right now today, I'm asking you to begin. I want you to start writing things out as you feel them, as you see them, as you get revelation, as you need to just get them out. Write these down as your journal prompt. And I want you to stop for a moment and answer these questions. Here's another one for you. If I felt more blank about myself, I would blank. If I felt more confident in my own voice, then I would start my podcast. If I felt more confident in my own ability to tell my story, then I would write my book. If I felt more confident in how I looked, I would go out on more dates. If I felt more confident about how I sang, I would sing more. I would finish my album. I would lead more songs. You fill in the blank. I want to talk about some things that are feeding and therefore causing insecurities to grow, keeping them a secret. Iron sharpens iron, the Bible says. But how can iron sharpen you if you don't tell iron where you're dull? I understand you can't tell everybody everything. I understand you have to be very wise in that area. But you can pray and ask God to send you someone that's trustworthy with his heart that you can talk to. And when God sends you someone, if you have a friend that you can be real with and vulnerable with, share the areas that you're not secure in. There is so much power in shining a light on something that the devil would rather you keep in the dark. He would rather have you believe that there are monsters under your bed and monsters in your closet than for you to turn on the light and realize there is actually nothing there. He can terrify you into thinking there is something there. But you tell your mom, you tell your dad, and they come in and they hold you, they comfort you, and they show you that it's not what you think by turning on the light. Your friends can do that for you. your life coach, your therapist, your spouse, your sibling. Will you tell them about the things that are lurking under your bed, lurking in the recesses of your mind? Sometimes it just takes another set of eyes to show you. Not only is there nothing there, they turn on the light and shine light on that thing. And so now you're no longer afraid of what could be. You're no longer afraid because you have support. You have accountability. Iron can come and sharpen your dull places. They can see blind spots that you can't see. They can speak life into you in times when you're not able to speak it to yourself. Also feeds our insecurities is when we rely on past experiences, whether they're painful or one of failure. We rely on the past experience to dictate our current experience, to dictate the imagination of the result of. If you were in a relationship before where you were hurt, then that experience is dictating right now you're not secure that you won't be hurt again. You're not secure that you will not be hurt again. So then your imagination takes over, and you've already been in the end result before it even happened. They're going to hurt me too. And here's a solution. Before I let that happen, I'll just be by myself.